Hi y'all, welcome to the Damsel of Design workroom. I'm Rosa and I wanted to show you a very simple shading theory drawing. So we're just going to draw a circle, okay? Start with a circle. I'm just going to use pencil and regular paper, white paper. You can do this on lined paper, it doesn't matter. Look, my circle's not perfect. That doesn't matter. I'm just lightly making a circle until I like about what I see. And then I'm going to think about a light source. I love my light source coming from the left. I kind of like it to come here and like around there. So then I'm going to draw sort of where the light source is. Nice and light, right? So if the light source is here, then my shadow is going to be behind it. Just about like that, let's say, okay? Okay, here's some fun things to think about as we do this. We want this to stay as wide as possible for as long as possible because we don't want to overdo it, especially when we're just using a pencil and paper. If you're using a colored paper, this can be a lot more fun and quick with a white pen or pencil. So, but now we're just going to go with this. The darkest part of our drawing is going to be down here, right where this connects. And the lighter part is going to be up here. There's one thing to note. There's going to be a reflective piece down at the bottom. That's really going to help your piece look round. So we are going to start shading just a little bit away from that dark line. And I'm using the side of the pencil, and I'm still not pressing a whole lot into this. I do have an eraser. I am going to erase some of these extra lines so they aren't as in my way, but this does not have to be perfect. Nothing does. No rules, no rules. Okay, so I'm just teaching you some guidelines here. You do this how you want. So we're kind of building up this roundness, right? But I'm staying away from the edge, but I'm making it follow the line of the circle. Kind of larger in the lower part of the shadow. See, so it's a little bit of a crescent moon shape is what we're coming up with now. And we're just going to keep going. We're building and building and building. This ball is no particular color. I'm even going to let some of it come over on the other side because I do like to have the light not coming directly to the side, but just a little bit in front. And then the shadow will go a little bit behind. And we're just going to keep on building it up. As you can see, I'm doing less and less as I get further. I'm also not really thinking much about the way my strokes are. And you don't have to. You can if you want to. Like, you can decide to go crosshatch on this. You can decide to blend it if you use something like, well, you can use your finger for sure, and it can start to blend in. But for the most part, I'm just going to use the pencil. And often with my pen and ink, you'll see I'll use stippling as well. So once I feel like I kind of have the basics here, that's when I'll go in and refine things, okay? So even though this is a reflection, this is not a reflective ball. I'm not making a reflective ball, but it is a reflection here. So I will end up coloring this in and making it darker, but first I want to find my very, very darkest spot and make it that dark. We want this ball to have some weight, dimension, and weight. And then I'm going to bring some shadow out from the bottom. Now, as you can see, this is also, right here, is going to be my darkest spot, even with the shadow. The shadow has its own layers of reflection. So the shadow gets lighter at the end and darker towards the center. But it can also vary in between, depending on the light source. So this is a light source out of our minds, not a real light source. Do what you want. I want the whole portion of what's hitting its surface to show up. So I'm really coming in to make sure that you can see that bottom portion, right? And then I left a little emptiness here just to show some variation in the light source. Now we're coming back to the ball. I'm gonna refine the edge of it just a touch. And we're still like looking at, you know, some fairly light lines up here, right? Even though it is gonna show a little bit of filled in shading there. They're still gonna be fairly light. And then we're gonna keep that reflective bit as we go along and start to work it in. Right now, that's just too much, right, of this reflective bit. Now what we can think about here is there's layers to this ball. So here we have this section that can come up just a little bit darker, right? The most darkness. And it starts to dissipate as it comes up. And then we're gonna continue to blend. So here's my darkest bit. I want it to blend some more. Here is now a reflection in shadow. So that means I'm gonna color it in a little. Because it's still darker here than it will be on the sides. Nice. So we're getting there. I am not going for photo realism. I am going for the sense of a ball. And then I'd like to put a little bit of darkness on the lightest parts in the thinnest way I can. Because sometimes if you don't have other things around it or the background's not there, you don't have anything to make it stand out. So that's your artistic license, I shall say. Oh, and then I'm just gonna bring a little bit more shading here to the side. I think it's become a little bit more instinctual now when I draw, but there is like serious formulas here and there. But I also really love to tell people, this is your world. There's not a single rule that you can't break in art. And I love that. Light source. Always think about the light source, shadow, and then always leave a little space for the reflection in the shadow. And I can't stop, and I won't stop. I had to keep going. You know, it's just like this one highlight was a little too bright for that side of it. Yes, it's gonna have like a little extra light right down that center line, but it's still kind of the shadow, so I felt like I gotta have it filled in a little more. Another good tip when you're drawing, stand back. When you stand back, you can see a lot of things. Oh, another great way is to look at it upside down. If you look at it upside down, you get a new perspective and you kind of see things you weren't seeing before. Taking a picture of it, that's super. I mean, I grew up before the whole camera phone situation. So now there's camera phones. You can like take a picture of it, and then you really get a good idea of what it looks like and how your perspective is, and you can see a lot of things you didn't see when you're just working on it. So now I'm just gonna stand up and look at this again and see if I'm a little more satisfied with where it is. I think so. I think that's better. Like I said, not perfection. I just sometimes have to keep going. Anyway, that's it. That's it for me. I'm calling it for real this time. Bye, y'all.